Good morning, good afternoon, guys. Happy Wednesday. We made it. We're halfway through the week already. Happy hump day. Hope everyone is having a good week so far. If you're having a good Wednesday. I thought today we would just kind of cover a few little news stories that have popped up in the last few days. Some of them are kind of silly, some of them are a little bit more serious. So yeah, let's kind of cover some of those. But before we do, let me say hello to everybody. So Project Storytime was first today. So hello to you, Project Storytime. We have got Andrew 46 and 2. Good to see you. Mark the Infinitely Tired. Good morning. We've got Apollonie's Minion. Hello, sweetheart. Good morning to you. Naughty Monkey Ora. Good to see you, as always. We have got, oh, it skipped on me. That's okay. We'll go to the bottom and work up. We have got Dee Dee Myers. Hey, Dee Dee, welcome. Pete Den Cat, welcome. Good to see you. We have got my other mod, Chris Persia. Welcome, Chris. Good to see you. Gogo, aka Brandon the Infinite Wolf. Always good to see you. Good morning. Perez, good morning to you too. Wenzology, good afternoon, sweetheart. Welcome. Good to see you. Who else has joined us? We have got Martin Orlando. Hello, good to see you as well. Welcome, everyone. Hope you are having a good one. Colin, good afternoon, Colin. Welcome. Low Spec Linux Laptop, good morning to you, my love. Let me see who else has joined us. We have got Jed and Esh's Love Triumph. Not even going to ask, guys. I am not even going to ask. We have got Dave Bob. Hello, Dave Bob. He says, man, my internet is screwed up. Mine was last night. It took about 5 attempts to get the stream set up, so I'm not sure what the heck was going on with YouTube last night, guys. But it did not want to set this stream up, so nearly had to do it first thing this morning instead. But fortunately, after a bit of perseverance, it went through and allowed me to to link up. And straight off the bat, we have got a You've got a $5 super chat from Phoenix Tangent. They say happy Monday. Oh, I hope your Wednesday isn't feeling like a Monday. But thank you, sweetheart. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. And we have got a 199 super sticker from the lovely Mags. Thank you, sweetheart. Let me just see what she sends in. She has sent in a heart. Thank you, sweetheart. Appreciate you. Hope you're having a great day as well. What does Chris say? Chris said, Boss, it seems our first super chat has come from the future. Future or past, who knows? But very much appreciated. So thank you, guys. V-Star, haven't seen you for a while, my love. Good to see you. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Welcome. And who else just joined us? Robert Pearson. Hello, good afternoon. So, guys, let me ask. Do you remember a little film from DreamWorks? It's 20 years old, called Shrek. You know, I've got to admit, I liked it. I thought it was pretty fun. Kind of turned the whole fairy tale trope on its head, poked fun, but not in a mean way. Had a really good voice cast. Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy. But according to an article that I found in The Guardian by a guy called Scott Tobias, who, after reading this, I think he really needs a hug or a nap or to have some fun in his life. He says that Shrek at 20 is an unfunny and overrated low for blockbuster animation. I disagree, but let's see what his argument is, and we can then pick it apart after. So, he says the fairy tale comedy was a hit with critics and audiences, but its toilet humor, glibness, and shoddy animation mark it out as a misfire. Disagree. I thought the animation looked amazing, considering it was 20 years ago, and still looks good to this day. His main gripe, he gets right to the point. Shrek has an outhouse with a working toilet. If that's the thing that you pick up on in this film, I think you're kind of missing the point, my friend, but that's okay. It is not part of the film's cynic brand of irreverence that an ogre's latrine is supported by modern plumbing, and it's certainly not consistent with the hygiene of a swamp-dwelling beast who bathes in mud, brushes his teeth in slime, and boasts a killer weed rat stew. But after our lime green hero literally wipes his ass with a fairy tale ending, it was apparently decided that the film needed that emphatic flushing sound before the Smash Mouth single All Star kicked in and the introductory montage could commence. He sounds really miserable, doesn't he, guys? 20 years later, that flushing sound seems to signify the moment when blockbuster animation circled the drain. Shrek is a terrible movie. It's not funny. It looks awful. It would influence many unfunny, awful-looking computer-animated comedies that copied its formula of glib self-reference and sickly sweet sentimentality. 3 of those terrible movies were sequels to Shrek, and one was a spin-off with a sequel in the works. The curse has eased, but not lifted. And yet Shrek was a sensation with critics and audiences in 2001. After flailing in its early efforts to keep up with Disney, the animation house of which its co-founder, Jeffrey Katzenberg, was credited with reviving DreamWorks, had finally hit pay dirt, raising the possibility that it might become a viable challenger to the established major studios. I'm just going to cut in there at the moment. Anyone who's ever been to either the Universal Studios in Florida or in California know how big DreamWorks is. You know, they have a great big area dedicated just to the DreamWorks films. So I think this guy is completely off the mark if he thinks DreamWorks was never a huge animation studio. Even the stuffed shirts at Cannes Film Festival, who usually separated Hollywood's summer fair from its official selections, bought into the competition slate, where it premiered alongside new work from masters like David Lynch, Jean-Luc Godard, Hu Hao-sun, Jacques Rivette. He goes on to say, it's hard to account for why Shrek hit the cultural moment as squarely as it did, other than, you know, people seem to enjoy it. He seems to have a real problem with people going to see a film and actually having fun. You know, this film appealed to kids and it appealed to the adults who took the kids to see him because there was adult humor that kind of went over the heads of most children, but not in a, you know, mean way. Where did I get to? People seem to enjoy it, or why it will be celebrated in the 20th anniversary pieces other than this one. But it's worth pointing out how comprehensively bad its legacy remains, opening up the floodgates for other major studios to pile celebrities into recording booths, feed them committee polished one-liners, and put those lines in the mouths of sassy CGI animals or human-ish residents of the uncanny valley. Worse yet, it encouraged a destructive, know-it-all attitude towards the classics that made any earnest engagement with them seem like a waste of time. Those once upon a times were now rendered stodgy and lame, literally toilet paper. I will jump back to the article in a minute, guys, but let me just see what you were saying. Project Storytime nailed it. How dare people have fun? Mark says, these critics forget that movies in the past aren't made with the censorship of today's standards. Exactly. Well said. Let me just grab this as well, guys, because a couple more super chats have come in while I was on the other page. And a massive thank you to Golgo, aka Brandon, the Infinite Wolf. Thank you, sweetheart. He says, hate Twitter, love Valhalla. Have some money. Here's to staying stupid drama free Shrek. Love Shrek. Haters can stuff it. turn me loose. Well said. Thank you, honey. And Roger H sends us a 1.99 Canadian super sticker. Thank you, my love. And it is, let me check. What was it? It was a thumbs up. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys. And let me just make sure I haven't missed any more whilst I was on your page. No, brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, guys. We have the best chat. We really do. And when Dana G says the fun is being outlawed as we speak, that does seem to be the way, doesn't it? And hello, Retro. Good to see you. He says, hail purple, hail the chat, as Shrek would say to that article. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. Oh, it gets much, much better. You went to to the second half. But if you guys actually want to look it up on Twitter, it's really fun to see how we got ratioed. And Derek McManus says, fun? What is this fun you speak of? Indeed, this is why we can't have nice things even 20 years later. But I love Shrek. The sequels, most sequels aren't as good as the original, but I thought it was a fun, irreverent film. So let me jump back to the article and see what else that they're saying. So he goes on to say, their replacement, Heathly, a flatulent ogre, voiced by Mike Myers, who deploys the same accent that carried him through the All Things Scottish sketches on Saturday Night Live. Myers was only just past his peak of popularity when he replaced fellow SNL alumni Chris Farley as Shrek, still riding the high off two hit Austin Powers movies and still powerful enough to get DreamWorks to shrug its shoulders over allowing him to redo the part in Scottish. For years, Shrek has seemed like a disaster in the making. Writers assigned to polish up the scripts likened it to the Gulag, but the conceptual hook of its fairy tale universe combined with the buddy chemistry of Myers and Eddie Murphy as Donkey and Cameron Diaz as Fiona, and up for all anything damsel in distress was stronger than they could have realised. In fact, the roadmap for Shrek had already been drawn years earlier. The Princess Bride, a fractured fairy tale that found the right balance between knowing gently absurdist plays on storybook tradition and a sincere affirmation of their power. There is even a scene in Shrek that nods to the torture machine earlier in the film, with the evil Lord Farquaad, played by John Lithgow, who I actually love, great actor, working over the gingerbread man for information. But the balance in Shrek is off on both ends. There's an excess of anachronisms and buddy movie riffs from Myers and Murphy that have little relation to the backdrop and worries me soppiness to the love story between lonely, misunderstood freaks. Nothing screams undeserved gravitas like slipping a cover of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah into the film. The most curious element of Shrek is how uninterested it seems to be in the fairy tale universe it creates. In recent years, as studios have merged and brands have been further reinforced, we've seen plenty of eagerness for companies to trot out their IPs. For example, Space Jam, A New Legacy. But there is much greater promise in a film that's about fairy tale favourites under threat, from nursery rhymes to Brothers Grimm. Some of these creatures are assembled in mass detentions by Lord Farquaad, who exiles them to Shrek's swamp, and Princess Fiona's dilemma, imprisoned in a dragon-guarded castle, recalls Sleeping Beauty. But once Shrek and Donkey cross the kingdom on a quest to bring Fiona to Farquaad, the storybook references are all but abandoned. Even when Robin Hood and his merry men appear in the woods, the film blows past the boring old mythos in order to pay homage to The Matrix and Riverdance. Wow, this guy is really miserable. And hello, Crimson Mist. Good to see everyone. And hello, Pod Racing Palpatine. Welcome. Good to see everyone. I hope you're having a good day. He goes on to say, "What's Left is a all ages film that's somehow more crude and juvenile in its appeal to adults than children. The grown-ups in the room can snicker knowingly at Farquaad's name and the repeated references to his penis size, while kids are left with fart jokes and the wanton diminishment of timeless characters and stories. Last year, the National Film Registry added Shrek to the Library of Congress, and this guy seemed really mad about that, which seals its canonization. But it's remarkable how much an early alt relic it's become. An amber preserved monument to the phenomena. Mike Myers, Smash Mouth, Michael Flatley, for example, that haven't stood the test of time. Even the film's referential style looks resolutely slow and unhip next to the uh, this guy's whirring pop cousins of Lord and Miller productions like the Lego Movie and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, or even IP-heavy Disney fare like Wreck-It Ralph and its sequel. He concludes, in the end, Shrek didn't save DreamWorks from selling itself off in a few years later. It didn't extend Myers' career past that hard expiration date, and Katzenberg went on to found Quibi. The entire enterprise is better left in the past. Wow. Tell it like it is, Guardian. Tell it like it is. And Colin, that's what I was very curious about. What is this guy's point? Why pick on a film that's 20 years old and compare it to, the films like the Lego Movie, Wreck-It Ralph, back in the day when Shrek came out? And I think he's missing also that it's also based on a children's book that does this kind of, it flips the whole fairy tale trope on its head. That was the whole point of it. Um, Man, this guy is a freaking buzzkill. He is. But like I said, check it out on Twitter if you want to find it, guys. It's well worth seeing The Guardian getting ratioed to hell and back over this article. But I just thought it was kind of funny. I I enjoy Shrek. I will still watch it, and as I said, DreamWorks really didn't have a misfire with this film or any of the other films that they've done. Sequels are never as strong as their originals, but they're still fun. But apparently, the author of this article hates fun. Who knew? And hello, Snorterpoopers Cuba. Welcome, good to see you. Padres in Palpatine says, Dunkin' Dragon had children, which would be an abomination. The abomination for the whole Shrek is in the MCU confirmed. Project Storytime, I smell clickbait. I think so too. I think it was just an article that was brought out to kind of as a juxtaposition, because most of the other articles I've seen, people were praising Shrek, 20 years on, the story's still funny, the animation still looks good, what a great cast that they had. But no, they had to go in the complete opposite direction and be a real killjoy about it. SJ Almighty, hello, good to see you. Personally, I think they should have gotten a real donkey to do the voice. That's how it goes nowadays, isn't it, guys? Actors can't act. You've got to be the thing that you're portraying, or else. Which leads me on to another story on bouncing into comics, but I'll get to that in a moment. Hello, Dave Bob. He says, yeah, he's looking for a hate read. Well, he certainly got it. And don't worry, guys, I didn't give The Guardian a click. It's all on Twitter if you want to go looking for it. That's Stephen. Hello, sweetheart. Good morning. Good morning to you. Jester of Sin. Hashtag Green Lives Matter. Let's see. Colin. Purple Valkyrie approaching fairy tales from a new angle, even turning them on their heads. Where have we seen that idea? Weird Sisters, witches abroad. Indeed. Absolutely. I really like Shrek. I think both the book and the film did a really good way of flipping these characters and making a hero. And the whole point of Shrek was that anybody can be the hero, even somebody who traditionally in a fairy tale would have been the villain. You know, Shrek is a reluctant hero, but he's still a hero. It's all about friendship and winning over the damsel in distress, who wasn't a damsel in distress because she could take care of herself just fine. So yeah, there you have it, guys. Shrek apparently is an unfunny mess that ruined DreamWorks, according to them. I disagree. The other story that I was going to bring up today, and this one is from Bounding into Comics, so let me actually share this one with you, because I can do that. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. Oh my gosh. So here we go, guys. So, Bounding into Comics, and this is from Spencer McCauley. So, big thank you to them. So, Mortal Kombat star Ludi Ling criticizes Amazon's upcoming Lord of the Rings series for its lack of any characters that look Asian. Again, I think someone that is perhaps missing the point, but let's see what he has to say. Um, oh gosh, Mortal Kombat star Ludi Lin, who played Liu Kang, who I thought was actually a really weak character in the Mortal Kombat film. I wasn't impressed at all with how he portrayed him, but that's just my opinion. In the latest cinematic adaptation of long-running fighting franchise, recently criticized Amazon's upcoming Lord of the Rings series for its apparent lack of any characters that look Asian. Uh-huh. Lynn's comment was promoted by a comment made by Amazon Studios head Jennifer Salke, who told The Hollywood Reporter, Lacey Rose, during an interview for the outlets, Hollywood's most powerful women. Yeah, I'm not going to click on that feature. That the 465 million budget, can you believe that, guys? Currently allocated for The Lord of the Rings' first season was intended to provide a full season of huge world-building show. Okay, fair enough. The number is a sexy headline or a crazy headline that's fun to click on, but that is really building the infrastructure of what will sustain the whole series, added Salke. Shortly after The Hollywood Reporter published their feature, Lynn took to Twitter to respond to Salke's comments, asserting that it's going to be difficult to justify building a huge world, in quotes, without any characters that look Asian. Turn that imagination on, he added. It's not hard. We're right here. Sounds like he's angling for a role in this massive production. What do you think, guys? He says, let's put a little Asian in Fantasia, some Middle-earth kingdom in Middle-earth, the actor added in a follow-up tweet wherein he shared The Hollywood Reporter's own coverage of his comments. Your biggest fans have been waiting since the first stage for it. Just saying. Yeah, definitely angling for a role. Unsurprisingly, Lin was soon met with pushback from fans, many of whom pointed out that the series was based on Anglo-Saxon cultures, myth and folklore, and thus the lack of real-world diversity is a non-issue. In response, Lin clarified that he was not bitching. Yeah, you were. Just a bit disappointed that one of the best fantasies in the world isn't showing love to fans from all over the world, before disingenuously describing the law-based criticisms or his call for diversity in Middle-earth as nothing more than a racist argument meant to keep Middle-earth exclusively white. Gotta say though, anyone who thinks Lord of the Rings is for white folks is only because it's purely a white fantasy. You gotta check yourself, he concluded. Sounds like he got a little bit of pushback and then got defensive about it. So let me take that off. What do you think, guys? Do you think he was just angling for a role? Do you think he's got a point? Or do you think that all of this is just more trying to push people into, you know, more forced diversity? Um, Mark says, shake my head. So what would be said adding white people to Asian mythology? True. Or to say, for example, Bollywood films. Mags says Tolkien's world was meant to be a myth story for England that's so far removed from Asian culture. Absolutely. Um, where I live, a lot of the places are actually based on Middle Earth. You know, Tolkien took inspiration from the middle of the country. You know, because that's where he was situated when he wrote the books. That's what inspired him. And if anyone's obviously, most people will have seen the films. You've seen what New Zealand looks like. New Zealand was the perfect backdrop for these films. Chris Persia, we need to explain to Moody that there was a serious lack of representation in Journey to the West, Tales of the Monkey King. Snorter poopers. Since the world that Tolkien created was largely unexplored and not described, other than the Northwest, why not try writing your stories to take place in other parts? Oh, right. Lack of talent. Indeed. Uh, I think a lot of the pushback came back because Tolkien fans are so protective of Lord of the Rings, and rightly so. Tolkien himself was extremely protective of what he'd created, and so was his son before he passed. I don't think that this TV series would have been made the way it is had we not lost Christopher Tolkien. Um, because up until now, the actual Tolkien Society has been extremely, they kept really tight reins on the IP. You know, if there was something that they didn't want done with Lord of the Rings, it was not going to happen. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Pete Dinkat, fans from all over the world are fans of Lord of the Rings, even though there seems to be no Asian people in the books. Exactly. Well said. Let's see. Project Storytime, to borrow a phrase from a man who used to own a comic book store, adult pretender, indeed. I think it's a little bit of sour grapes, and I think it's him angling to get a role in this because it's such a big production. I mean, you saw the money that's being spent on this, and this is just for the first season. If this season bombs, which I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, I've got to admit, but I do not have high hopes for this TV show. I think there's too much outside influence. I think there's too many people trying to pull it in too many different directions. I think we're going to lose the essence of Tolkien's world that he created. But $465 million budget. That's insane. And this budget just keeps going up and up. You know, goodness knows what the final count's going to be. Hello, speaking of the dead. Good to see you. SJ Almighty says they will ruin it. It's going to be expensive lesson for them. I think so too, and it's going to be such a shame because other than obviously the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, we haven't had I suppose The Witcher, but I don't have high hopes for The Witcher second season either. We haven't had that much fantasy-based TV out or films, so it's something that really could have kind of captured people's imaginations had it been done right. But yeah, I think this one might be dead on arrival, guys. Unfortunately. Hello, Jim. Welcome. Good to see you. He says the Silmarillion describes the eastern lands where the elves were first born in the First Age. Lord of the Rings only covers the western lands of Middle-earth because it's set in the Third Age, when the Undying Lands have been removed from existence inside Middle-earth. I agree, and were it based on the stories of the Silmarillion, I don't think it would be much of an issue, but they've categorically stated that it's Lord of the Rings, even though this takes place obviously before the Lord of the Rings happened. Colin P. Smith, to be honest, I have zero hope for just about anything the indoctrination industry makes these days. Come on, Hollywood, subvert my expectations in a good way. We have already had enough deviations from the books in Peter Jackson's movies, although the Lord of the Rings trilogy was a decent attempt, but this abomination will be pure garbage. I would be inclined to agree. I loved Lord of the Rings. I even liked the first Hobbit movie. Didn't think much of the second two. I think they could have quite easily have made these films into two, and I would have actually preferred to have seen Guillermo del Toro direct rather than Peter Jackson. But it happened, and the studio really wanted Jackson to do these films. And Big Geek, thank you, honey. He sends in a $2 super chat. He says, notice they do not demand China to have diversity. No, that is very true. Mainly because I don't think it would happen. Paris says, Lord of the Rings. I was so excited when this series was first announced. It's been a while since we had Lord of the Rings, and I remember going to see them all in the cinema. I actually saw them played back to back, all three of them. I have the extended cuts on DVD and Blu-ray. I really love these films, but no matter how much money you throw at a production, it doesn't mean it's going to be good. Too many boxes trying to be ticked, I think, guys, unfortunately. And hello, Stick Kenobi. He says, hi there, Purple. Hope you're well today. I am doing well. I hope you're doing well too, sweetheart. Good to see you. Welcome as always. Oops, and it skipped on me. Let me scroll back up because I just saw a really good comment. There we go. So Jim McCarvey says, how can they do that? That's just wrong. Aren't they covering Numenor? That's the Second Age. I don't think they know what they're covering, hon. They seem to be bouncing all over the timeline. Just because you can slap a Lord of the Rings on the title doesn't mean it's going to cover what people, especially people that aren't as familiar with the books, who haven't kind of read into if you haven't read Silmarillion, who don't know the backstory and the world building that Tolkien put into this work. If they only know Lord of the Rings from the movies, I think it's going to confuse a hell of a lot of people, just as The Hobbit did. And Nora Pooper's Cubo says Numenor means Western lands, which tends to eliminate Asian characters. Indeed. Golgo13 says, if you get to the States, Idaho is a blast for the outdoors. You should have movie projects here. Plenty of places for set pieces. And he says, are you going to come to the States anytime soon? Me? I'm planning to, absolutely. When they open the borders up, it's on my to-do list, most definitely. And a massive thank you and a welcome to SJ Almighty, who joins the channel. Thank you, sweetheart. Let me just see what you became. You became a berserker. Thank you. Great to see you. Thank you very, very much, guys. I appreciate you. And Big Geek Jesse, rise and shine. No, The Hobbit confused us on how a 200 something page book could get made into three movies. In my opinion, it did not work well. As I think, as I think they wanted it to. No, they padded the hell out of those films. You know, they added characters that didn't exist. They cut the second film off where they shouldn't have cut it off. I think I know Loki's spoken about this in the past. So the where Smaug attacks and then they just cut the film and the credits roll. That should have been, you know, the last 10 minutes. They should have kept that onto the end of the second film, instead of moving it into the beginning of the third film. It was a really weird and kind of it felt off the way that it was cut. And the Battle of Five Armies was, you know, way longer than it needed to be, especially in the book where it's only vaguely described. But again, I think they were trying to recreate the magic that they had in the Lord of the Rings films. Obviously, we had the Battle of Helm's Deep, um, so they wanted this huge set piece for the end of the film. And Australia Mossy said I wanted to be a shield maiden. Oh, honey, you can be a shield maiden if you like. That's okay. I'm not going to judge. Yvonne Solomon, hello, welcome. The Hobbit is one of my favourite books of all time. The movies completely butchered it. I agree. Um, I've got to admit, I have a soft spot for the first film, like I said, especially the extended edition where it's got the songs that they kept in, um, because, you know, kind of nostalgia from the Rankin Bass films. But yeah, we didn't need three films to tell the story of the Hobbit, not at all. The Hobbit should have been one movie, and they could have done much better on the set and costume design. It looked awful. Yeah, the one thing that I think they did do quite well, though, was the casting. That's the one thing that all of the Lord of the Rings films did and excel at. I think was they cast the characters very well. Tragic story time. Sammy hasn't seen Lord of the Rings. Hashtag cancel Sammy. Oh, right. eventually, eventually it will happen. I'm sure she will see it eventually. And a massive, massive thank you to Loki's Mornings and Mischief. And guys, if you missed the show this morning, you should really go back and watch it because it was so damn funny. He says Valhalla needs all the shield maidens it can get. Skull! Thank you, boss. I agree. And hello to Nearsighted Cyclops. Welcome. He says Bilbo was a co-star in his own movie. He really did seem to get sidelined, didn't he? Even though I thought Martin Freeman absolutely nailed that role. I thought he was brilliant as Bilbo. Was never quite keen on Elijah Wood playing Frodo for some reason. It never quite sat well with me, but it was still good. And Perez says Loki's Mornings of Iron Man. And Von Solomon says, yeah, the first movie was pretty decent. Then it took a left somewhere into what the fuck is happening. I agree. Lots of padding, you know, lots of, you know, characters that had extended roles, characters that didn't exist, kind of being shoehorned into it. Then we had that weird kind of love interest with the elf and the dwarf, which we didn't really need. Although I liked Toriel, you know, she was a pretty cool character. Loki's Mornings of Mexican Iron Chick. And Project Storytime says the Hobbit book is basically a treasure hunt. How did they mess it up? They messed it up because they wanted it to be on par with what they had before. They wanted the films to have the same kind of stature that Lord of the Rings had. And that's why the studio was so insistent that Peter Jackson come back. That's why they put so much pressure on him. And I think it really weighed on his health, if I remember correctly, because he was a big fella before he started directing these films, and by the end of it, he was a shadow of his former self. See, Kenobi says the action scenes were too cartoony. Looked like a video game cutscene. Made me want to puke on a kitten. That I would agree with. The escape from the Goblin Town, especially, and the whether they're in the barrels were very, very weird scenes. Loki says Bilbo was supposed to be large even for a hobbit. I really like Freeman's take on it, but he didn't seem to fit. I liked his characterization, I got to admit. But yeah, he was supposed to kind of harken back to, the hobbits of his family, where they were overly large, but oh my god. Peter Jackson wore the ring while shooting. Shooting the movie, hence the anorexia goblin. Oh, I think they just put so much pressure on the poor guy to recreate the magic of the previous films. I think the stress got to him. Golga 13 says, "I'm king of Goblin Town." I I know it sounds really bad, but I liked the Goblin King character. Because it's voiced by, oh god, what was his name? That's come right out of my head. But a very famous Australian comedian who used to dress as a lady. So I just had that in my head when I was hearing the voice. Retro Dicky says, "Poor kitten." I agree. Snorter Pooper says, "Some poor dwarf running round with an axe buried in his skull." Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it? I always thought we were going to get a little bit of backstory as to that. I know the actor himself kind of made up his own kind of backstory as to why he had that, but it was never kind of touched upon in the film. He goes on to say, and Thorin didn't strike me as particularly dwarvish looking, robbing Bilbo of his moments of heroic development. Yuck. Yeah, yeah. The dwarves were kind of hit and miss with the cast. Obviously some of them were very good looking, and I think were meant to appeal to the ladies in the audience, and the rest of them definitely looked much more dwarvish. Hello, Louise. Good afternoon, sweetheart. She says, my lasting impression of the Hobbit movies was not looking at the screen when Bilbo talks to Smaug and picturing Holmes and Watson. That I will agree with. SJ Mighty, Barry Humphries, thank you. Yes, Dame Edna, thank you. I knew it was Dame Edna, but I could not think of his surname. It went right out of my head. So thank you for that. But going back to Louise's comments, yeah, Smaug was amazing. And I'm not the biggest fan of Benedict Cumberbatch, but he really did kind of nail it with that character. Mark says Billy Connolly was the best part of the second Hobbit movie. Yeah, that kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it? Billy Connolly riding in on a pig. That was weird. Penguin, penguin, exactly. He said it right once and then completely lost all thought of whatever the word meant. Yeah, poor Benedict. It's a shame. MB Geek, okay, crazy. So, are so many celebrities coming out as non-binary, milking it, uh, like it did when it came out to be okay to be gay? I'm calling BS, calling fake. Um, that one I don't know. I'm guessing you're referring to Demi Lovato, who's just made an announcement or something. I tend not to listen to celebrities if I can help it, to be honest. Um, Most things that come out of celebrities' mouths nowadays seem to be kind of vacuous and stupid, and especially in light of what's happened over the last like 18 months nearly, I think the shine has definitely come off celebrities. Um, People like Gwyneth Paltrow, you know, crying that she had to eat bread, completely broke down and had to eat bread and pasta and drink. Wow, cry me a river, cry me a river. Let me go find my tiny, tiny violin. Max says, me too, Purple. See, Max knows what I'm talking about. And hello, Keely and Roll Tide. Did Movie Smog not have four legs? No, he didn't. No, he had two legs and the wings that he walked on. So technically, he wasn't a dragon. He was a wyvern, I guess you'd call him. And Golgo says celebrities are fools, actors are cool. Oh, I know some really cool actors, absolutely. But it seems uh, celebrities they live in a bubble of their own, unfortunately. Dave Bob says, read the books but never watched either of Jackson's trilogies. I would love to do one of the Lord of the Rings as a movie watch party, but I think they're just too long to cover, perhaps. But that would be pretty cool. And Pod Racing Palpatine, going back to Gwyneth Paltrow, says she had to make candles out of her. Yeah, you know. I do know, and I also know that they're a fire hazard because apparently they explode. So who knew? Don't buy Gwyneth Paltrow's candles, people. Project story time, got it. Yeah, she had to eat bread to get over a candle explosions. Hello. Oh, sorry, it skipped on me. Let me get this comment and I'll go back to Jester of Sin. Lord of the Rings is a fun trilogy. I have not read the books. I know it's sacrilege, but I digress. I haven't read the books for quite a while, but I read them growing up, the same as The Hobbit. Um, I like them, and you know, being British, Tolkien is a big part of obviously growing up here. Let me go grab that comment that I was going to get from Jester of Sin. Hello, good afternoon. It says, were the dragons in Game of Thrones? Never watched it. Yep, yeah, there was. And they look pretty cool. I think I stopped Game of Thrones at season 4, if I remember correctly. I just lost interest. Uh, and I haven't read the books, so you can cancel me for that one if you like, guys. Oh my gosh. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Keely says, eating bread is nothing compared to watching Batwoman because you don't want a friend to suffer alone. Honestly, I don't know how you guys do it. I couldn't do it. I just can't sit down and force myself to watch a show that I know I'm not going to enjoy, even even to hate watch. But you guys are much, much stronger than I am when it comes to that sort of thing. And Pete says, I know Dragons with Four Legs just didn't know his movie Small had four or not. No, he didn't. He looked cool. He looked great. And if you've ever seen the behind the scenes where Benedict Cumberbatch is kind of all decked out and he's got the motion capture suit on, he really gets into his part. He's crawling around on the floor and he's growling into the camera. So it's definitely worth a watch. And just was saying, since I was waiting until the books were finished, but as winter is never coming, that's not happening. Yeah, I've got a sneaking suspicion, guys. Anyone who is a big fan of the Game of Thrones books we might never actually get this last book since he keeps procrastinating, but it might happen. Who knows? And Lisa Roberts, welcome. Good to see you. She says, Batwoman is a war crime against humanity. I've got to admit, I'm not a huge fan of CBS anyway, so yeah, I'll leave that to better Better people than I. Louise asked, "What did you think of the old cartoon version?" I liked it. I really enjoyed it. Um, I know it's a lot of people think it's kind of dated now, but there's something really charming about it. Especially because they use the rotoscoping for some of the characters, which is kind of cool and good to see. Retro Dicky says, "Pray for Az." Az is fine. He got a chart-topping song out of his reviews for Batwoman, so uh, and Keely says, "Pray for ETEP and I." I do, guys. I pray for anybody um, watching it. CW, sorry, Project Overtime. CW, not CBS. Thank you. And Mark says Benedict Cumberbatch as Shere Khan in Mowgli was awesome. Okay, I don't think I've seen that, so I will take your word for it. Is that one of the Disney live action remakes that they did 500 of and keep churning out even though nobody's asked for them? I think the last one that I saw about 15 minutes of was The Lion King and instantly regretted it. And I was like, no, no, this is ridiculous. Um, if I was going to watch a Disney film, which I don't really have any inclination to anymore, uh, I'd go back to the animated because they're classics. Oh my gosh, what are you guys saying? Benedict Cumberbatch is just fantastic as a voice actor. The Grinch, his version of it was great in my opinion. Haven't seen that. The only one I've seen the original animated one, and then the one that weird one that Jim Carrey did that was kind of freaky. I'll put it on. I'll put it on my list. Oh my gosh. Oh, and yes, MV Geek, welcome back to Twitter. He says, "When's Twitter going to learn? Always find a way back in." Of course. Well, welcome back to the madhouse. Live action remakes of animals featuring stories, aka CGI. Yeah, yeah. I when they called it live action, I was like, it's CGI. What are you guys on about? And Ron Solomon says, "I haven't seen any of those live action remakes. The trailers for The Lion King look soulless." If the first 15 minutes were anything to go by, I would absolutely agree. It was pretty terrible. And the opening of the animated, obviously, Lion King is phenomenal, but it just fell flat. So I was like, I'm done. So, thank you guys. Huge, huge thank you to everyone who joined today. Hope you had a little bit of fun. A couple of really silly stories that we got to talk about. Um, God bless the Guardian for giving us clickbait and making us hate them even more. Well done, guys! Congratulations. And apparently, the Lord of the Rings TV show isn't as diverse as it needs to be. I'm gonna call BS on that one. I think it's going to be extremely diverse, but time will tell. Um, Not sure if I will watch it. I certainly probably will not be reviewing it. I think there isn't that much to review today coming out. And hello, Darius Munchausen. Good to see you. Welcome. The Polymese Minion. Oh, they don't, but they made the wyvern on a Game of Thrones. Do you ever notice that the dragons have long necks? And Paris, I'm not sure, honey. If we do, like, keep an eye out, it would be on Loki's channel. But a massive, massive thank you to everyone who joined me today. Hope you guys had some fun. I will be back Friday, as always. And tomorrow, I think I'm going to try and do a member stream. So I will set that up for you guys, and we'll have a little bit of a chat, I think. Let's see what we can come up with. But I hope you all had a fantastic day. I hope you continue to have a fantastic day and fantastic rest of the week. And let me just grab this massive thank you. Darius sends us a 99-cent super sticker, and it is. Let me see if I can find it. It jumped on me. Uh, there it is. There it is. It's a little smiley face with sunglasses. So thank you, Darius. Appreciate you. Thank you, love. You guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you soon. Oops, it's on me. There we go. Thank you, guys. Have a good one. Bye.